Good evening. It's so glad all of you can join us here for what I think will be a very educational and meaningful evening. And we've got two great candidates, and I think we've got some good questions for them. I do want to review a few of the rules for this evening, but before doing the rules, I want to read just a quick statement. The Lebanon-Wilson County Chamber of Commerce, the Mount Juliet Chamber of Commerce, and Cumberland University consider sponsorship of this debate as a public service to help educate citizens about the candidates in Wilson County's upcoming mayoral race. The two chambers and Cumberland University are prohibited from directly or indirectly participating or intervening in any political campaign on behalf of or in opposition to any candidate for elective office. In the spirit of fairness and neutrality, great care has been exercised in drafting the questions posed to the candidates tonight so that neither candidate should have an inherent advantage on any question. Having said that, let me do a quick review of the rules for the candidates and then also for the audience. Each candidate will be allowed to make a 3 to 4 minute opening statement. The order of opening statements has been determined by a coin toss before we started, just like a football game. Following the opening statements, each candidate will be posed the same exact question and have up to 3 minutes to respond to each question. A timer will indicate when the candidate approaches the end of their 3-minute time limit. We have two timers up here. They'll hold up a 30-second sign and a time up sign. If the candidate doesn't happen to see that, I will gently remind them, "Thank you, sir, your time is up." And Ray Render will do a dance up front. A candidate is allowed to ask for the question to be repeated before the clock will start on his 3 minutes to answer. The order in which the candidates are asked the questions will alternate between each question. If Mr. Hutto answers question 1 first, Mr. Warren will answer question 2 first, so on and so forth. Each candidate will be candidates are not allowed to ask questions or interrupt the other candidate when they're speaking. Each candidate will be allowed to make a 3-minute closing statement. The order in which they give the closing statement is just the opposite of the order they gave the opening statements. Now to the audience, to all of you here. Please refrain from clapping or creating any disruptive noise following a candidate's statement or answer to a question. There will be plenty of opportunity to applaud both candidates at the end of the evening. Please remember to silence your phones during the forum so as to not disrupt the candidates. Now enjoy the evening and thank you for taking the time to learn more about each candidate. It now gives me great pleasure to introduce our two candidates for this evening, Mr. Randall Hutto and Mr. Philip Warren. Please join me in welcoming. We also did a coin toss to see which end of the field they would defend. And Mr. Hutto won the first coin flip, and he deferred to Mr. Warren for the first opening statement. So, Mr. Warren, the microphone is yours.
Thank you. Is it working? Is it on? Okay. I can't hear it, so I guess you can, though, right? Everybody hear me? Good. You can't? What do I need to do?
Hold on for technical difficulty here.
I need to get closer? I guess so.
I think you may have to
Get down on it. Could do that. Will it raise up in? I'm sorry.
I think that's as high as it goes. I'm sorry.
That'll work. Okay. Yeah. That way I'm not down like this all the time, okay? Well, I'm Philip Warren, and I'm running for county mayor to bring a fresh perspective, proactive planning, and some new ideas to county government. You know, I was a real estate broker in Wilson County for 23 years. Had to put together a business plan every year. Had to put a business plan together that lasted 4 or 5 years so that my business would operate. I know about selling houses. I know about building them, about the development. But the business plan was probably the greatest part of that. Without that, I couldn't do my business. Without that, we didn't make any money. And that's kind of important when you're self-employed, is to make some money. So that business plan has been a great asset to me, not just in the real estate business, but also in the government office that I served in. In 2011, I was appointed to election administrator of Wilson County and took over an office from a lady that had been there 34 years. In 11 years, we took that office from one that was rooted in tradition to one that was nationally recognized. I think all of you know we have the change in the voting experience we had in the last 12 years. I look forward to doing that on the county level as a county mayor. That's what I want to do, is make Wilson County the best it could be, with proven leadership and proven Republican. You know, this is a Republican primary. This is for Republicans. It's the first time we've done this in who knows how long, if ever, in Wilson County. You know, for 130 years, our state was controlled by one party until 2008 election, when both the House and the Senate of the state legislature switched to a Republican majority. That changed things all over the state and in Wilson County. That's when I was appointed as administrator of elections, and that's when everything in the state became appointed by Republicans, not Democrats. So we do have a Republican primary, and that's what we're having on May the 3rd, which is a little different here. So I'm asking for your vote during early voting, which starts Wednesday through the 28th, or on Election Day. I think that's a good open statement. All yours.
Thank you. Mr. Hutto?
It was a good open statement. I had the opportunity to serve Wilson County starting in 2010. And every day that I go to work, our goal is really to make Wilson County a place that you're proud to call home. You know, we started out a while back with a motto, Wilson County, the place to be. And then we developed a flag that was adopted by the county commission. And now we have a license plate that we're trying to go. We want you to feel good about where you live and the place that you call home. In the last 12 years, I hope you know that Wilson County ranks top in the state in almost every category. When you look at the number one reason people move here is education, as I see Dr. Wright in this crowd with us. People move here because of the educational system that we've talked about over the past 12 years and that we've brought to the forefront. You know, I believe people move here because they feel safe, as I see Sheriff Bryan in the back there. This is a place where people believe public safety is number one, as well as education. We've done that with the WEMA stations, and that we've tried to branch that out. We're one of the first counties in the state of Tennessee to have 24/7 service in the rural area. Most counties, Williamson, Rutherford, Sumner, those counties have volunteer service in the rural area. Nothing wrong with volunteer service, but to have somebody out there in the rural area that can go out there and live that's there 24/7 definitely is positive. You know, as we think about our financial status, we have grown in that too, and I'll talk about that a little bit later. But we are sound today, and probably as sound as we've been in a while. As the mayor, you know, you're kind of like a juggler in a circus. You juggle a lot of balls at one time, a lot of things that come after you. And a lot of people believe because you're at the top, you're in control of everything. But that would be wrong. Actually, you know, if you're a department head, everybody answers to you. But as an elected official, as the mayor, you are just like every other elected official there. I don't control the sheriff or the trustee or the county clerk. Example of a hot topic that we got today, I don't control growth either. The growth that's in the cities, I don't control. 85% of the growth happens within the cities today. Only 15% is in the county. So, you know, my opinion of growth, or my opinion of control of government, I guess, would be a whole lot like watching a basketball game. When you watch a basketball game and you don't realize the official is out there, then the game is in good shape and it's under control. When that official starts taking over the game, that's trouble. So for me, that's government overreach. And so that's the kind of government that we try to run. I do want you to feel good about government in Wilson County. When the word government is mentioned, I want you to be proud of that. So much in our country today, that's a negative word. So I want you to feel proud about government in Wilson County. I love my job. I love the people here. And I'll do my very best if you allow me to serve you 4 more years. Thank you.
Thank you. Now for the first question, and this will go to Mr. Warren first. what you see as the primary role of the county mayor in county government, and secondly, what you believe our Wilson County government does well, and in what area or areas does it need to improve, and how would you make sure those improvements happen?
I just have 3 minutes.
You've got 3 minutes, and you're not obligated to use all 3 minutes. But,
Well, I think part of the question is, what does the county mayor do? And Reynolds is correct. It's a very limited job description. I think it's to take care of the buildings and be chairman or a member of the county commission. Not a whole lot in state law about what the county mayor does, but it is a full-time job. It's basically the CEO of the county. So the spirit of the county, the leadership of the county, where we go, who we talk to, comes out of the mayor's office. I think in the county, that's where leadership is. That's where the county commission gets a lot of their ideas from, and who they come to bounce those ideas off of. But he's right. There's the department heads have people that answer to them. County mayor actually answers to you, each one of you, and to the county commission. Those 25 people that we elect in our districts, which is very important, and that's part of this election too, to elect those people to represent you. They come to the county commission meetings, and the county mayor is chairman of that, but he's there. But what we do well, we do a lot of things well. We have a lot of people. Well, look at the growth in this county. From 2010, we had 113,000 people in Wilson County, and the 2020 census was almost 150,000. We're doing something right. We've got a lot of people coming to Wilson County. We have a quality of life that doesn't compare to other counties. We have a quality of life that's different than other counties. We're not Williamson County, we're not Sumner, we're not Davidson, we're Wilson. Those are the kind of things we've done well. Now, what we have to do better in the future is keep up with that. As we continue to grow, and we're growing quickly, we have a tremendous growth at every part of this county, all the way from Statesville to Mount Juliet. That's the challenge going forward, is keeping up with that growth with human and physical infrastructure. That doesn't mean just roads that we all have to drive on, and believe me, I think everybody's been stuck in traffic at some point in the last 2 weeks in Wilson County. That's part of growth, and that's something that takes a while to redo. But we've also got a human infrastructure issue that we have to deal with. We have to have enough people that man the patrol cars, ambulances, fire trucks, and the desks and the services, all the services that county provides. Those are things that we have to look at. We need to stop, that's probably the one thing we do well, but one thing we could do better at the same time.
Thank you. And I would remind both candidates that if you need me to repeat the question, I'm happy to do that. So, Mr. Mayor?
I believe the question was, what does the county mayor do? And then what are the, that's a drop mic right there. I've always wanted to do that.
Okay.
Yeah. I guess we can go home. Is that part of my 3 minutes? Never mind. The county mayor's job is really, I guess I relate it to my days back in coaching. It is leadership that's required. And I told you a while ago probably that we have all the responsibility and no real authority to deal with people. But our job is really to build consensus. Our job is to make a family out of the people that we work for and that we work with. We have to get everybody on the same page, heading in the same direction. So many times I've learned that for me to get things across, that I really got to make it their idea, because a lot of times people don't really want your idea. And so building consensus is probably the biggest thing that we do, and working together. You'll hear a lot of times out there, well, Lebanon don't like Watertown, or Watertown don't like Lebanon, or Mount Juliet they don't get along. Let me tell you, the 3 mayors that I work with today, we get along well. Is there competition between the cities? You daggum right they are. And that's what you want, because you want them fighting to be better. But when it comes to wearing the same color of jersey and competing against the other 94 counties, our people do that. They work together and they build consensus. We do that at the commission level as well. And that is another thing. You got 25 commissioners that all have different ideas. They definitely want to make sure that they're doing what's right for their district. But when it comes time to make a decision, they have to do what a daddy would do at home. I want to go to Disneyland. I want this car for my teenage daughter. I want to do this. All these things together, but the daddy has to say, this is what we got to do, what's best for everybody. And that's what the county commission does. We spend a lot of time working in committees to make our sausage, you may say, and allow people to get involved. But when it gets to the county commission floor, we're pretty much on the same page. We talk about things that need to be, things that are good, and he talked about growth, and I will say that growth is definitely that. We have had a lot of good things happen, but we've had a lot of other things. When you talk about the number of schools that we built that's happened recently, and you know, we built Springdale Elementary, Gladeville Middle School, and Green Hill High School to build the infrastructure in our school buildings. And had we not had built those, when the tornadoes took down Stoner Creek and West Wilson Middle School, we would have had nowhere to replace those people. When we built those 3 schools, that took us out of the portable business and had us where every child was in a safe environment. So we've done more. I mean, the growth is good, but we've done a lot of things in building infrastructure. When you talk about human infrastructure as well, we had 575 people in 2010, and in today we've got 709. So we've added as we've gone along, and we've tried to stay within our bounds on that as well, to not have too many people working in government, but enough to give you the best service. And I got the 30-second sweep, so I'm off. Thank you.
All right, thank you. You both mentioned in your responses the population growth, and the next question deals with that specifically. According to the census data in 2010 and 2020, Wilson County's population grew by approximately 30% during that time frame. Some people think that's a low estimate. That rate of growth is expected by many to continue or even accelerate in the coming decade. As county mayor, what proactive specific measures would you take in the next 1 to 3 years to prepare our county for such explosive growth? Mr. Hoto, you're first this time.
Thank you for that. Let's talk a little bit about the size of our county when you talk about growth. And you may not know these statistics, but I knew growth was a hot topic, so I just looked it up. Lebanon has 37 square miles, 23,700 acres in it. Mount Jude has 24.5 square miles in it, 15,678 acres. And when you go back and look at the population, Mount Jude has 39,289 people, crowded into a smaller area than Lebanon at 38,431. So growth is prospectively, when you think about those cities, about where they are. I will mention Watertown, since it's my hometown. They have 1,553 people in there. They have 1.2 square miles, 804 acres. When you talk about how we are as a county, though, and again, I said the cities control that, I looked up and saw the number of people that per square mile. Wilson County have 239 people per square mile. Sumner County has 341. Montgomery, 370. Williamson, 383, 495. You don't have to compare to these other counties, but it definitely puts it in perspective when you look at that. What will be done for that going forward? Just so you know that in 2013, we did complete the urban boundary growth, which is that area just outside of the city limits, which is a mile area where the cities look to talk about what's going on out there in that area. So we completed that plan. We did a comprehensive plan in 2016. We modified our land use plan to change that map to what parcels had been changed, like from residential to agriculture at 2021. And then today we're working on the land use plan as we exist. I think we've had 2 public hearings so far out in the county. We divided into the quadrant into 4, and we came out to hear what you had to say so you could tell us what land you wanted commercial and what land you wanted residential. We'll have to continue to look at population growth. And I'll tell you, in 2010, as Philip said, 114,000. 2020, population 148. Let me give you this number. 2045, 257,000. It really doesn't matter who the mayor is. Those people are still going to come, and they come because of what you have made this place to be. It is a good place to be. It's low taxes, but we will have to manage that growth as we come, not only in the population side, but we'll have to work on our roads as well. But that is what you do. That is better than the opposite of nobody moving here and having to raise your taxes because we have no income coming in. So that is a positive thing to be addressing as opposed to the negative side of that, and we are ready to do that. Thank you.
Okay. I think I remember all the questions. Yeah, we are a growing county, and that's That's an important thing. We don't want to slow down. I've heard across the county people talk about growth as their number one issue, and usually it's roads. They're congested coming in, going out. That seems to be the biggest issue. That's not something that could be corrected overnight, but that's something we have to start on. And I think that's one of the areas that we hear the most about. And then people move in, they don't want another subdivision next to them or another apartment complex next to them. We're going to continue to grow. He's right. From 2010 till 2020, we had about a 35% increase in our population in Wilson County. We were one of the fastest, if not the fastest growing county year in, year out in Tennessee. That's something to be really proud of. We are inviting to have people here. It's great to have them come here, and we're going to continue to have that. Without that growth, we won't have new restaurants. We won't have new shopping opportunities. We won't have the things that we come here and that people are moving here for. So we have to embrace that, but we have to manage it at the same time. The growth study that they're doing now is it's past due. It needs to be done as fast as we've grown. We have to know where we're going. Once that's done, we need to put in place plans to accommodate that and then hold to them going forward. We can do that as a county. The infrastructure is probably the most important part of what we're going to have to do going forward with the county as far as the growth, and that is human and it is physical. Schools are very important. There's a great plan that the school system has put out. We've done a wonderful job in the past, but they're looking at the future. They're saying we've got this many people projected to come. We're going to need to build these schools before they get here. I think in the past we built the schools, they've been full when we got them finished. We need to do a better job of that. That's planning. That's proactive planning. The tornado was mentioned. That's something, that's one of the worst kind of catastrophes you could possibly have on a county in any day, on your home, on anything. We did it on election day, which was just a worst day you could have possibly had one, is on election day. But by planning, we were prepared for it. By planning, we had a great day that day. That's what we have to do, not for tornadoes, but for the future, for what we expect to come down the pike, what we see in other counties that they're having to struggle with now. We can anticipate that, plan for it, prepare for it, and be ready when it does come here. I think that's our biggest challenge going forward, is to look at every operation of government critically and fully, work with the department heads, work with the employees, and work with the citizens that are affected by it to find the solutions and accommodate them going forward.
Thank you. The next question goes into a different area. Workforce development has been and continues to be a major issue as more and more companies like Tritium move to Wilson County or expand their current operations like Amazon or Promobile. In addition to these companies that require large numbers of new employees, many smaller businesses are finding it increasingly difficult to hire enough employees. As county mayor, how would you address this critical issue of workforce development?
That is a big issue. I believe if you drive down the road right now, wherever you look, there's a help wanted sign. Every restaurant in town here is starting at $12.50, $15.50. Who would have thought it? This county has a real lack of those workers. We have some wonderful jobs, though. We have jobs that are bringing people from all over the world, not just all over the country, but from all over the world to Wilson County to be a part of this. And that's a great thing. As far as what we need to do to recruit more people is to continue to have these good, high-paying jobs. They're coming here. They're coming to Wilson County. I think the more jobs you have, the people come. We've seen that. We've talked about the growth in the last 10 years. That growth wasn't because we had pretty cedar trees. That growth was because there were jobs here. There were houses here. There was a great quality of life. So I think as we continue to work to maintain the quality of life, the infrastructure that we need in this county, have good people in government, we're all good people, have good neighbors, have good cities in the county, we're going to see the workers come. Yes, we were short on people from time to time, and I think as we have new businesses come in certain areas of the county, that's part of the urban growth, part of the growth plan, is to put those businesses in a place that we can draw not just from Wilson County, but draw from other counties also. There are a lot of people in Rutherford, in Cannon, DeKalb, Smith, Trousdale, even in Davidson, that'll be willing to come across the lines and work in Wilson County. So if we position ourselves in a place where we can invite them to come across the line and vote in our county and live in that county, then we just added to our workforce. There are lots of things we can do. We don't need to quit recruiting. We need to keep bringing new quality businesses to Wilson County. I think if we ever stop, if we ever let that pipeline go dry, we're going to be in a terrible place. Growth is inevitable. Growth can be a terrible thing, but it can also be a blessing. And I think for Wilson County, it's going to be a blessing if we manage it right. That's the key, though, is managing it right. I look forward to the next 4 years, 5 years, whatever, 3 years, and what we can do to increase our workforce. We have some great programs in our schools. You know, I remember years ago in the schools, and in the county, even in this county, we talked about how our children were going to have to move off somewhere else to get a job. We've heard that, and I think other counties in Tennessee have that problem today. We don't have that in Wilson County, and that's something we need to look at too. All the programs in our schools to keep the kids here, to keep our children here, to keep our families together in the same county for generations to come.
Thank you. Mr. Hutto?
I would like to take just a second to commend Mr. Warren and the Election Commission for doing what they did during the tornado. That was a great feat to have to pull off that morning with everything else in this race, so they did an outstanding job with that. When we talk about economic development and workforce, it is a blessing and a curse at the same time. I'm thankful for the JECDB, and I believe GC Hickson is in the back here, which heads that up for us. I'm not for sure if Sarah Hastings here with the City of Lebanon or Kitty Martin, but they do a tremendous job of recruitment of companies. And I will say this, that we are in the catching business. We're not in the pitching business right now. I mean, we are recruiting companies, or companies are coming here without our recruiting, without pitching for them to come. They're coming here, so we're catching them from all across this nation. And they're coming for several reasons, but you know, as you think about that, I really believe it's our business-friendly opportunity. It's a lot about our location. We're in the southeastern portion of the United States, and so people come here for that. But you know, we talk about companies coming, and a lady asked me back there a while ago when we were talking, she said, why are you recruiting any more companies? We can't take care of the ones we got here now. I also got hit the other day about maybe one of these theme parks that's coming, and how we can't get up and down West Main now, and what are you doing there? So, you know, I tell them there are 40,000 people that leave here every day and go to work in some other county. And they say to me, Mayor, you know, if you'll get a high-paying job here, I'll stay here and work. I'll get off your roads. I'll save gas money. I'll save time from commuting and spending more time at home with my family. I'll spend most of my dollars here because I won't be in another county to eat lunch. I'll eat lunch here. And you know, and so we still do look to find quality companies. Workforce is an issue. But as we tried to create here just recently, without any tax dollars, a company called, or a program called Wilson Works. And Adina Chumley is right back here. She heads that up. And that came because we said, as a teacher, I saw people, 500 kids graduate every year from high school, Lebanon High School. And those kids that were on their way to college, they had a plan of where they were going to do. Maybe they used college, maybe they didn't. But it was the rest of them that I run into that said, what do I do? And they always thought, as Philip said, the best job is in some other county. They didn't know that we had great jobs right here. And that's what Adina Chumley's job is all about. Man, that's quick. So that's important. I had 3 kids that graduate Tennessee Tech, you know, and they didn't know what was going on here. So that's another reason for that. But I will say this, that our population, as I see Scott back here with Vanderbilt Hospital, we have quality jobs here. And we have it in healthcare, we have it in advanced manufacturing, we have it in white-collar jobs and logistic jobs, but we don't have all our eggs in one basket. So if one bad thing happens, we're still going to sustain. Thank you for listening.
Thank you. And thank you both for being so respectful of the time limits. We're actually ahead of schedule, so I can get to ask 75 more questions. But the next question. The next question, somewhat related to the previous one on workforce development. The cost of housing in Wilson County, like in much of the greater Nashville metropolitan area, has skyrocketed in the past few years. The availability and affordability of housing certainly plays a significant role in the county's ability to attract new workers to the area. In your opinion, what role does the county mayor and/or the county commissioners play in regard to availability and affordability of housing? Mr. Hutto, you're first on this one.
It is a good question, and it brings on lots of conversations. When you look at, I told you, 85% of our growth happens inside the city limits, and 15% happened in the county. I will say that our County Planning Commission, or BOZA committee, have really drawn a hard line at trying to preserve our rural area. Since 2010, they've only allowed 145 additional lots above what the law requires. So in other words, grandmama's got a 500-acre farm out here. It's zoned A1. She can put 2 houses per acre on there. She'll come to the Board of Zoning Appeals and say, you know, can I put 4 on there? Because that's really going to increase my income or my retirement package. And they have said no to that. They have left it like it is because Wilson County is #1 in century farms. We have more century farms than anybody else in the state of Tennessee. So they've tried to preserve that. So, but you do get back to, okay, I want to work there, Mayor, but your houses are so high, or the lack of them, you know, I can't work in your county. And so that is a problem. But that also is a cat chasing its tail, because then we're going to come back to you when you say, hey, no more apartments. We don't want any more apartments here. We've got enough subdivisions. Y'all got this subdivision coming in behind me. I can't get up and down my road now. So that is a balance. But the affordable housing is really probably left to the developer and mainly to the cities, because that's where most of the development is happening right now. As we said, 85% of the growth area. So as a county mayor and a county commission, we don't have a lot of jurisdiction or help with the cost of housing. Although if you supply and demand, as all of us know, we didn't have a lot of supply not too long ago, and the builders figured that out, and so they've started building like crazy here. Some of that is catching up, but still probably not caught up as much. But when that does catch up to our growth, then the price of those houses will go down because the supply will decrease. And so, so the supply will increase, and therefore the demand will decrease. But I don't really believe that as a county mayor, we have really any impact on the cost of housing in Wilson County.
I agree with you. As county mayor, as county commission, as county government, we don't have a direct impact and shouldn't have on the cost of housing. Affordable housing is an issue that I hear about a lot. People say, okay, we can't afford this. At this price, we're making this much money, we can't afford a house in Wilson County. Well, you know, the land is going to be the same price. It's not going to go down. If somebody's got an acre of land and they can put 3 houses on it or put an apartment complex on it, they're going to sell it for the most money they can possibly get. The market determines the value of a home. And in Wilson County, the market is hot. I think anybody that's in the real estate business is making a lot of money right now if they're working. And that's a good thing. Our market is hot. We've got a huge demand. We have people coming in here. I'm hearing about houses that sell overnight. When I started selling real estate in the 80s, you know, if we sold $1 million a year, we were top agents in the whole county. I mean, you struggled to get to $1 million. Now all you got to do is sell a house to hit $1 million. You know, it's unheard of. You know, these are things that we wouldn't have expected 30 years ago, 10 years ago. Affordable housing is an issue. We have a lot of apartments going up. They're necessary. I know that's not something that everybody wants in their backyard, but nobody wants it in their backyard. I've got 200 houses going in my backyard. I don't particularly want it, but they sold their land. It's their land. You know, it meets all the requirements, so it's going to be built. It's okay. Those people have to, you know, the developer sees a need, sees a reason, and sees a market. And so they're going to build that. I think as we go forward, affordable housing is going to become a different subject. As we have the good jobs, the better jobs, we're going to see people coming into this county that can afford the homes that are here. We don't seem to have a huge problem with selling them. So they must be affordable if in the market. I think we do probably need to look at, but this is not something that the county can do, but look at some ways to bring in houses for more of the workforce that we may be missing in the future. Again, it doesn't have anything to do with the government. The county mayor, county commission has no role in that. That's for the market to take place. I think it's a question that is a good question, and it's brought up a lot, especially by younger people when they look at where they are. We're not just alone in this. We're not just in Wilson County. I think all the counties surrounding Davidson County have the same situation. So there'll be a solution, and we're still getting the people to come into our county, but let's let it grow. It's great for all of us.
Yeah, thank you. Let's go in a bit of a different direction here. Many people feel like our nation has never been more politically divided than it is now. whether it's the right versus the left, Democrat versus Republican, east versus west of Route 109, or a whole host of other divisive social issues, there seems to be little middle ground on which we agree. If you're elected as the next county mayor, how will you be a unifying leader for all citizens of the county, regardless of their individual politics? Mr. Warren, you get to go first.
Okay, thank you. And this is a Republican primary, so exactly what he's talking about. Republicans vote in this primary. But as county mayor, I'll do as I did with the election commission. I'm clearly a Republican, bona fide Republican, been a lifelong Republican, worked in the party, been party chairman 2 or 3 times, even been on the ballot 20 years ago as a Republican. But once I got into the election commission, that was nonpartisan. We treated Republicans, Democrats, independents, new voters, old voters, all voters the same. It took a couple of years for some people to understand that that was going to be that way. There were no favors for anyone, and there still aren't. That was how we made elections fair and protected the integrity of every vote cast in this county. As county mayor, I've said many times, potholes don't have politics. You know, there's a whole lot of things that we do as a county mayor, as a county commission, as county employees, as department heads that have no bearing on politics at all. I won't let politics rule what I do. My ideology is what it is. I'm a physical conservative. I believe in individual freedoms and personal responsibility. And that's how I'll make decisions. That's how I will lead. Government needs to be limited. And that's the difference in party politics versus in our nation now. I think that's what we see across the board, is an ideological difference. Probably greater. It's probably more of a bright line difference today than there has been in many, many years. Now, I don't say it hadn't always been that way. When Andrew Jackson ran, it was pretty bad then too. There have been some bad. 1858 wasn't a good year either. There have been some bad years in politics, but it doesn't have to rule on county government. When we get down to this level, most decisions are not based on party politics, but they're based on ideology. And it is important what your ideology is. What do you believe? How do you govern? What do you believe the role of government is? What do you believe it should be funding and what it shouldn't be funding? I think that's what we've got to look at going forward. Fairness, I don't care if you're a Democrat or Republican, you're a Wilson County. That's what matters. As voters, you are Wilson Countyans. If you walked in that door and you said you wanted a Republican ballot or a Democrat ballot or just a general ballot, you were treated the same. Your vote was counted the same. It was protected the same. We never made any distinction. And I don't intend to do that now. If you're an elected official, if you're a first-time voter, if you're whoever you are in this county, you're a citizen. And politics really doesn't play a part in that. One thing really quickly, I've heard that, you know, if I was elected because of politics, there would be people that lose their jobs. That is not true. That will never happen. Nobody loses their job in Wilson County if I'm elected because of politics.
Thank you. Mr. Hutto?
Except me. Just for the record. You know, when you talk about politics and you talk about parties, it's been tough for me. I have fought so long to make sure that I treated everybody fairly. I mean, I know, and you can know what my record is and look and see where I voted. And many of you will say, well, I didn't think you was a Republican. I thought you were a Democrat. And that was really by design, simply because I serve everybody. Everybody that walks through my door could care less what my voting record is. They want me to solve their problem that they got at that time if I can. And that is a job that I have to have. And because we're at a Republican primary and because I vote Republican, that is the Republican nomination that I'm seeking. But has it caused trouble for me with the Democrat friends I got? It sure has. There's no questions about it. But as I say that to you, you know, we always talk about working across the aisle and helping both people. I mean, that's what we talk about wanting to do. So I have friends on both sides. But what I stand for and what I vote is definitely public record. But at the county level, I really find it hard. Because I think before, when somebody walked in my door and I could help them, I did my best to do it because honestly, that is my paycheck. They pay me 2 times a month. But really, if I can help somebody walk out of there that's done something good, and Rachel Warren is sitting here that was with us for a long time, she knows that's the way we operate. We want to help you if we can. If we can't, then we can't. But now if we can't, you say, well, that's because I don't vote for you. I don't vote for your party. I don't like that part. But the primary is a good thing. It's not a bad thing. We just now caught up with the rest of the counties around us. That's where they are. But I want you to know that our office, and Philip has already said it in his office, he did a fantastic job in Election Commission. We're going to serve you. It doesn't matter what party you are. We're here to serve the people. We're not politicians in our office right now. We're servants. That's our goal. We don't want to be the other ones. So I want you to be able to count on that. And I hope that you know that, where we are, our main goal is to serve the people at their level. As people come in, they don't come in my office very seldom to tell me, hey man, you're doing a good job. They come in there because they're hurting or they need something fixed. And that's where I'm very thankful. My office is back here, Sarah Davenport and Brooks Driver, Susan Shaw is in here as well. They handle a lot of complaints because they think our office is over everybody. So I get a call on the sheriff or whoever else is here about a problem, and we have to, thank you, but they do a fantastic job of customer service, and I'll be quiet.
The next question pains me even to say. The COVID-19 pandemic is still with us, and it appears new variants will continue to arise. Based on what we have all learned since the pandemic first began, how would you as county mayor respond if and when a new, highly dangerous strain of this virus emerges? Mr. Hudrow.
Thank you for that. I really wanted that question. Glad I got to go first. I heard it said, life can only be understood backwards, but you must live it going forward. And that is very true. And back when the pandemic hit us, nobody knew exactly where we were going. And when you have to navigate uncharted waters, and we did, that's when you learn to do your best to lead in the best way you know how with the information that's given to you. COVID made it impossible for me or our office to make a decision that makes somebody mad. I was an equal opportunity hater. When we put the mandate in, you hated me. When I took it out, you hated me. But I will tell you from my perspective that I had people come to me and they give me books that were way over my head and said, you need to read this, government overreach. You don't need to be doing this. I can tell you right now, we didn't want to be doing it. The governor, which I have a voicemail on my phone that called and put us on watch when I was in Florida on vacation, thankfully. But I was there, he put us out, he said, hey, I didn't put the mandate in for Clay County because they don't have any, but I put it in for Wilson County and some of you counties that are hot spots. Please help me. And he called and thanked when it's over. So when your governor asks you to do that, you got a couple of choices. You could stand up and say, I'm not going to listen to anybody. But you know what else that really faced me is when I looked at Tracy Pope and some of those people in the hospital and saw what they were fighting every day. And then I realized the people that walked in my door and sat in front of me and said, Mayor, you've got a problem because I can't get in and see my grandmother in the nursing home over there because they've got it restricted. And she's going to die, and she's probably going to die before I can see her. And I had another one to come in and say, we lost my grandfather and you're doing nothing about it. You're sitting on your tail and doing nothing up here about it. They're talking about mandates across the country and you're sitting on your tail. So I looked at it and said, okay, I got to make the call. I got to make a lead. Like me or don't like me. But if we save one life, it's worth it. And if that loses the election for me, then it's so be it. I can go home and be happy with that. But making that decision was tough. We've learned since then, we're better educated. It was tougher on the schools the last time than it was on me because the governor took it away from us, and that was the right thing to do because it made it political. It's about health. It's not about government overreach, and we don't want to be there. So looking forward, we're definitely better educated. Wish we would have known more about it, but that's what the cards rolled out for us when it happened to us here. It was a worldwide pandemic. It was not a pandemic just in Wilson County.
Thank you. Mr. Warren?
Yeah, I thank you for the question too. Randall did have a tough call to make. We were kind of in a place 2 years ago that nobody knew what was going to happen. We had just gone through a tornado in Wilson County when all this started. So we were recovering from a tornado, then we get hit with a pandemic. So what do? But this is where politics, we talked about this in the question before, where it may come into play. And equal opportunity hater, I like that. That's good. And that's what people did. But that's where politics come into. What do you believe? I believe in personal responsibility and freedom. And in this case, the government's job, I feel like, would have been to provide the information, provide the resources, masks, whatever, and then let you make the decision. If you want to wear a mask, that's great. If you want to wear one today, that's fine. That's your responsibility to understand that. I think in the past we had people, when they would get sick, when they would get the flu, they stayed home from work until they got better. In this situation, we had people that got sick, got the flu, they were at home, but everybody else went home too. It began to not make a lot of sense what was going on. And I think we overreacted to something that we were being told, and I think we had bad information across the board. You know, science, we say follow the science, follow the science. Science in this country, with the administration that we have and the people that are trying to teach us the science now, when I went to school, there was called you had the empirical science, you had the scientific method where things went through. Now we have to be a scientist to know the difference in a man and a woman. So it's a whole lot different than it was. Data can be manipulated, data can be changed. I believe that probably with the information that Randall had at the time, he made the decision he had to make at the time. And I understand that there were a lot of people that were on both sides of that issue that were knocking on his door saying, do this, do this, do this. You do what you have to do. I'll tell you going forward, and we may have more information now than we did, and I will fiercely defend your personal responsibility and your personal ability to make your medical decisions. We're all different. We all have different medical issues that we have to deal with. Some people are healthier than other people. Some people don't know that they've got these conditions, and this may affect them in a different way. And it doesn't have to be COVID or the flu. It could be diabetes. It could be a lot of things that affect you. It's not the government's place to tell you how to take care of yourself. It's your responsibility. Doctors, nurses, they're there for you to advocate to and for them to help you. They're not there to tell you how you should live your life. And one size doesn't fit all. So I think going forward, I would fiercely defend your ability to make your decisions on your own about how you take care of your medical needs.
Thank you. Let me give you a breather just a second and give you an easy question. As county mayor, how will you work with the two school boards to continually improve the schools and the quality of the education offered to all Wilson County students? Mr. Warren, you're first. That's an easy question.
Yeah, it is an easy question. And education and schools are what bring the people to this county. That's one of the biggest things. We have a very good education system. Our school system is ranked, you won all kinds of awards, didn't you, when you were in there? So we've got a really strong system in the county and in the city of Lebanon. I think we can be proud of that. It costs a lot of money. The largest part of our budget, of our tax dollars, I think close to 80 cents of every dollar that's brought into taxes into Wilson County goes toward education. And I hear people say, well, that's too much. You know, why are they spending so much money on education? Well, there's a lot of reasons, and it's an expensive proposition. We have to build the buildings. There are a lot of mandates that have to be recognized. We also get a lot of money from federal and state funds also to make that run. Working together with them, really the county commission, their job is to fund their budget. They don't have line item veto over the budget. They have no control over the budget. They don't have any control over what the teachers are paid or how much the buildings cost except to fund them. They can question that. So I think going forward, we need to work with the school system, with their plans for the future, look at their long-term plans and make that mesh with the county's long-term plans. Because if you build a school, you still have to have roads to get to it. You have to have protection there, fire, police, sheriff, all those people have to be part of that. So as we grow, it's all intertwined. It comes together as one. So it's very important that we work closely with the school system, just like we work with the sheriff's department or WEMA or any of the other offices to make sure that what we do going forward is covered in a complete way in our county so that we don't have those gaps. We're seeing some gaps now, but that's the growth causes that. And we have to predict for that. That's where proactive planning with some innovative ideas, I think, going forward to make these things work better than they're working now. We got some challenges coming up. And over the last, 15 years ago, who had a cell phone in their pocket? Nobody. Well, had an iPhone. Nobody did. Now we've got computers in our pockets. We've got computers in our ears. You know, what are we going to see in the next 10 years? How are we going to prepare for that? How can we leverage that to save tax money, not increase property taxes, not increase fees, and still meet the needs of our citizens and of a growing county? That's the challenge we have, working with department heads, working with the school system, working with the citizens, and especially the cities to make those kind of things happen. That's what we have to do going forward.
Working with the school system has been hopefully an easier thing for me since I was an educator for 18 years at the high school there, and at the special school district I was there for about 8 years as assistant director. And so I am familiar with the educational side of that world. And you know, I've had the privilege of working with Dr. Duncan, with Mr. Mike Davis, Mr. Tim Sutherland, Dr. Wright, which is here, and Jeff Luttrell, which is our superintendent today. And we've always had a good relationship there, and what we've asked them to do is ask them when you need funding for a school, and as we've built several schools that I could read to you now. Lebanon High School actually opened in 2012, a pre-K at Rutland in 2013, Watertown High School in 2014. We bought land beside Mount Jude High School for a middle and elementary that's not built yet in 2016. Elementary in 16, Gladeville Middle 17, and Green Hill High School in 18. So we've done a lot of that, but we did that by way of them coming to us and saying, here's what we see we need. And so we worked hard with the county commission to do that without having to raise taxes to do that. We've raised your taxes 2 times in 14 years. 8 cents of that was for Gladeville Middle, 3 cents was for Watertown High School, and 3 WEMA stations. And so we've lived within the growth money that we've had to be able to do that and not tax you. And that happened because our superintendents came and said, hey, can you prepare for this? Like right now, they're looking for land in the Gladeville area for middle school and at 109 for elementary, middle, and a high school. So we're working. We are caught up now. Had we not been caught up, we couldn't have been able to withstand the 2 schools. So you know the capacity there. So we are not behind in that case. But I will tell you that as we look right now, we get a heck of a bang for our buck in the education. We don't control the school system. There's a lot of conversation today about that school being built at 109 or the property out there. You know, when they come to us and want us to shut it down. That is a school board decision only. We do not, Commissioner Kirch is back in the back, we do not have a right to tell them where to put that school. There's a court case you can look up in Rutherford County where the county commission there tried to overrule them, and they lost in the Supreme Court case. But I want to go back to what is important. We spend in Wilson County $1,800 less than the state average per pupil expenditure. We rank in the top 5% of the state in student performance outcomes. We're getting a heck of a bang for our buck by the people that are there doing the job they're doing. And I know one thing, Wilson Countyans recognize that, because when you had a chance to put a tax on yourself or not, you raise the sales tax in order to pay the teachers what they deserve, to retain and obtain them. And I'm proud that I live in a county that saw that as a necessity. Remember, 30% of all sales tax comes from somebody else. Thank you. Outside the county.
Deduct 3 seconds. Deduct 5 seconds, okay. The next question. The decisions you will make as mayor will undoubtedly have short-term and long-term ramifications on the quality of life for the citizens of Wilson County. This is a 2-part question. Can you describe briefly your vision for Wilson County and how it will enhance the quality of life for citizens in all parts of the community as our population continues to grow? That's part number 1. Part number 2. Many citizens also want to preserve what they perceive as the small town feel of our communities, while at the same time attracting new businesses to the area. How does your vision balance these wants? Mr. Hutto?
So the first question, I believe, if I say the first part one more time.
Can you describe your vision for Wilson County and how it will enhance the quality of life for citizens in all parts of the county as our communities continue to grow?
Ever since we got here, we said that there are three things that we believe are number one. We believe education is number one, we believe public safety is number one, and we believe quality of life is number one. Because the best time that you spend every day should be away from your job and at home. Because at the end of the day, when we leave those jobs, somebody else will take our place. But that family and what you do with them will last for eternity in the lives that you develop and change in your family. So quality of life is important for me. We want to provide things that bring you enjoyment. As I told you a while ago about the lady that called me about the theme park that has a chance of coming here, she's actually friends with my older son. And when she said to me as we talked, she said, "Hey, look, I can't get nobody to wait on me in restaurants. I can't get up in town." And I said, "Hey, that's a breath of fresh air, because most people your age with a child call me and say there's nothing to do in this county. I got to go to Franklin to have something fun to do." So I said, "Thank you for that," because I've heard from both perspectives. But quality of life is why we took the chance to build the Expo Center. And the Expo Center today brings quality events here every day. It is completely full. It is paying for itself and the bond that it was cost to build it. So that is one thing. There are things that we have not reached that we need to reach, and it's been a dream of ours as far as a vision goes. We need a multi-sports park. Don't vote no on me for that either, please. But hear me out before you do. What we live on here, as I was saying earlier, 30% of all the sales tax that comes in here comes from somebody else. So we're living off of their money, where they're providing services for us. Well, the same thing happens to my young people. My young people say, every time I get ready to go play ball, Mayor, I got to go somewhere else. And the city recreation fields have to take care of the city residents. But we need a park that is tournament play only. And our vision there really would be this, that tournaments could be played there Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Let's see Tim Leeper here, which has been on me about that for a while. And then, but that would let each individual team have a tournament out there to raise money for themselves. But there's three other things that we're really missing here. The other thing for quality of life is we have nowhere for senior games. We have nowhere, and that's on Monday night, and on Tuesday night for special needs, and on Wednesday night for co-eds. Something for my young people to do here that can do that with their husband or their wife as they come together. So I look in that vision, but quality of life is important. We rank it number one, and we continue to look for things to make you enjoy your life better outside of work, because that to me should be the best time of your day.
I'll try to remember both of them. I think I got it. My vision for Wilson County is for it to be the best it can possibly be. And that encompasses a lot of things. Recreation, big part of it. Lifestyle is absolutely the biggest part of it. And I think that's where we have to work together throughout the county. Cities, the county, the three cities, we've got Watertown, Mount Juliet, and Lebanon. Their populations combined is only about half of the county. The other half lives outside of any city limits. So we still have a large number of people that are just Wilson Countyans. They don't pay city taxes. They drive on city streets and they come to cities to spend their money because it's not in the county, but they're still in the county. They're all in the county. My vision is to see that quality of life that they're used to, that they moved here for. We have a tremendous growth. We've talked about that, the growth and what we expect going forward. I think you said we had like 250,000 people coming in the future. Yeah, that's a whole lot of people. That's as big as Rutherford County or bigger right now. So we have to maintain that quality of life. And I think that's where events like this, the chambers in all three of the cities, that's what you do. You recruit people, you include people, and we have to do that to create a sense of community. Somebody talked earlier about the 109 divide. I think that's disappeared. As people are moving into Wilson County, I'm not hearing about that anymore. It's those of us that have been here a while that still see 109 as a chasm between Mount Juliet and Lebanon. People moving into Mount Juliet, people moving into Lebanon, people moving into the county around that, they see 109 as a really fine highway to get where they're going. And that's it. We've got all kinds of growth out there now. We've got people living near there. You live near there. So you're on the divide, on the edge. But that's what we're seeing in Wilson County is a new culture, a new way of vision for the county that we maybe haven't seen in the past. The small town feel is still there, and we've got it across the county. You know, I've said many times the difference in Wilson County in the animal control issue in Mount Jewett, in parts of Mount Jewett, is the dog barking at the condo next door, and on the east end of the county, it's the cow in the road. You know, we have a very diverse county, and we have to be able to adapt to that. Keep that feeling. You know, if you want to have the rural, we've got part of the county for that. If you want more urban, we've got part of the county for that. If you're coming here from Nashville, young people, millennials, whatever, when they start off, they want a different lifestyle than the people that live on the other end of the county in the farming communities. But people come from all over the country. I've met people in Statesville and down in there that came from California, tickled to death to be here because this is a great place to be. So my vision of Wilson County is to see us build the infrastructure, build the foundation that we can maintain that for the next 40 years.
Thank you. Looks like you read my notes almost, because the next question, which deals with quality of life but also infrastructure. As county mayor, how would you prioritize much-needed infrastructure improvements to keep pace with the rapidly growing population base? Mr. Warren.
My plan is, within the first 90 days of my administration, to do a top-down operational review of every office under the county mayor to determine who does what they're doing, how much money is being spent, who reports to who, and how we can put that together better. In cooperation with those department heads, their employees, and other department heads and the county commission, we can put together a plan that I hope will make things more efficient. We may see, more than likely, we're going to see we need more people, or we may need to move some people around, or something needs to change. We can make this a more efficient operation. When I took over the election commission, we had 6 full-time and 2 full-time part-time. One was there 3 days and one was there 2 days every other week, so 8 people. 5 people, I guess. After the first 2 years, we reduced that to 4 full-time people. But we leveraged technology, organization, and instead of like government where everything goes in a circle, we made it go in a straight line. That's where you bring business experience, business planning into the government realm. Now, you can't translate everything that way, but you can do a whole lot. And that's my plan to go forward, is look at the infrastructure from the inside. We don't have to look outside our borders of Wilson County to find the good people. We have the best. And we need to be able to retain, recruit, and inspire the best people possible for all these jobs, whether it's in an ambulance, a fire truck, patrol car, or at the desk at the clerk selling you a license plate, or at the election commission. Wherever it is, we need the very best people working there. We need people to be challenged for those jobs, to want to keep those jobs. And it's not always just a paycheck. It's not always a paycheck. I think people that do their jobs and do their jobs well will do it not just for the money. They do it for the enjoyment of what they do and for the love of their county. You know, we talked about people moving outside, going outside the county because they could get a better job. Well, folks, I've made a choice, and I think a lot of others have too, to stay in this county for less money than to drive downtown to Nashville every day. It's worth a whole lot of money just being part of the community, being close to home, knowing the people you see when you go out to lunch. That's how I think we can move forward with with changing and maintaining the infrastructure in the county.
Thank you.
And I think I realize where that Philip Warren sign for mayor coming in my front yard, since you know where I live at now. No, you didn't. I'm just joking. No, not yet. Yeah. You know, when you talk about county buildings and keeping up with the infrastructure, we've tried to do that. I just can list some of the buildings that we've been lately. We bought the old Baptist Association building there, where we house now Wilson County TV. Teresa Bush and her crew are here tonight. There, also our IT department. And we got that building because we sold the old water building, which is right beside Coffee Connection, and we actually swapped that, so we had paid no money for that. I do believe we built the best plaza in the state of Tennessee for our veterans. I hope you've had a chance to go see that. We bought the North Green Hill Women's Club down in Mount Jewett by the ball fields, because Mount Jewett, that's a satellite office for our clerk's office, so they could expand because they were kind of in a cubby hole down there. We built the expo centers we talked about for quality of life. We purchased the old Fred's building behind our courthouse there for the election commission, and that was a good purchase for us. It brought Philip and all of his team under one roof with their equipment and able to do training, and they'll continue to do great things there. We turned the old Lebanon High School into a Board of Education. A little controversy going through that, but now I believe everybody realizes it's the best thing since sliced bread, not only for us, but for people all across the state that come and use that for training. We purchased a surprise building beside the road commission out there so they could go all under one roof. Now they've got the Steve Armstead building, their lot there, and then also their equipment garage there. And we took the Oak Street building where they used to be at, and we actually just sold that other day for $860,000. The State Fair, of course, has really helped us upgrade our James E. Ward Ag Center because of the State Fair coming. That's an additional $14.5 million that will be added in infrastructure out there that didn't cost anybody anything. And of course, we purchased the Highland Heights Church behind the jail and worked with them while they were building their new place. It's 6 acres there as well, and that will be a multi-level court system coming soon. We felt like right now, if you got to go to court in Wilson County, they say, okay, now, Mayor, you're in the courthouse, or am I down there at the old church, or am I over to jail? And so we want to bring all the courts together. See Judge C.K. Smith in the back there, and that will make that easy for them to work. We'll bring prisoners underground or overground there, which will save on transportation as well. So, you know, I feel like that we've done a lot of good things as we've tried to build and keep up with the infrastructure. We'll have to stay on top of it, of course, but we have made lots of strides, as you can see.
Thank you. This was touched upon earlier in one of the comments, but I want to come back to a question. For many new residents to Wilson County, it seems odd that so many of our local elected officials must declare a political party in spite of the fact that the duties of their offices are considered nonpartisan. Do you agree or disagree with this practice, and please explain why you either agree or disagree? Mr. Rutto, you're first.
You know, I believe the party affiliation makes a difference to a lot of people at the state and the federal level. And the people that follow that also look at me, and they really want to know, what am I made of? What are my beliefs about government? Am I conservative? What's my Christian values? Where do I stand on abortion? Those things matter to the people that are going to elect me. Do I make that call in the office because of those? No, I don't. That really will never play into effect. But I hope, and I'm completely fine with declaring a party, but I hope you get to know me personally, and you know the kind of person that I am throughout this community and how I represent myself and how I represent my family, that is why you would vote for me. If the party affiliation makes a difference, then I'm okay with that. But you know, the really down deep decision on where you vote for me or not should be based on the character of person I am, the track record that I've been in. Am I a Republican running for the nomination of Republican in Wilson County? Dadgum right I am. Have I voted for Republican? Check my record. No problem there. Do I represent all people? You dadgum right I do. And that is my job, and that will always be my job. As we look forward in here, our goal, which is a big part of that question he just asked, is to bring people together. You will never move anybody separated. Anything we do that separates people is not good. I've heard it said a long time ago, if you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together. And that's what has to happen at our office and the rest of this county government. You have to be on the same page. I hope the party affiliation does not separate us. It's had that effect in our nation. You can turn the news on and see that. I hope it does not have that effect at the local level, because there's really no place for that. We serve all of you, regardless of our party affiliation. But you know where I stand, or I wouldn't be here where I am today. Thank you.
Yeah, I think we covered a lot of that earlier. This is a Republican primary, and we have to declare Republican or Democrat. There are people in the county that are affiliated with the Democratic Party that won't have a say in this, and I've heard that so many times. You mean I don't get to vote? I said, well, it's a Democratic primary or Republican primary. You vote in the Republican primary, but you're not capable to vote. And I think that's been probably the crux of the whole conversation about this election, is just about all but one of the people running that aren't independent are Republicans. So the Democratic Party really doesn't have anybody to vote for. I agree. Potholes don't have politics. Believed that my whole life. On the local level, most things we do for the citizens of Wilson County. We will do all those things for the citizens of Wilson County. If you walk in my office as mayor and you're a Republican or you're a Democrat or you're a brand new person and I don't know what you are, or you're an independent, you go both ways. And believe me, in today's world, there are more independents than there are Republicans and Democrats. If you look at people's voting records, and that's public record, how people vote, and start looking at that. In the Election Commission, we have to do our best in the polling places to have an equal number of Democrats and Republicans represented in those polling places. It got hard these last few years because most of the people have switched back and forth time and time again. Now, there are some people that's the only way they vote, and they always will. But that's who we represent in the county. We represent everybody, Democrat, Republican, whichever. Yes, on a national level, on a state level, it matters who governs. It matters who's in charge. It matters who the governor, what party the governor is, what party the state senate is, and what party the state house is. That matters. And it goes deep. It goes all the way to all who the commissioners are, who they appoint as their assistant commissioners, who are on the boards across the state. It matters who governs because that ideology goes deep. It goes all the way into Wilson County. So we say in a lot of cases politics don't matter, but those things, that part of it really does. And we don't see that on the surface where we elect a Democrat or a Republican or just an independent. But if we run nonpartisan and a person leans one way or the other, they're probably going to look at people that think the same way they do to put on commissions. Or at least they're going to make those decisions based on a partisan basis. In some cases, that's who they align with. So we see a lot of things, maybe not on the surface that the politics would do. I see pros and I see cons to this partisan election. I'm proud to be running as a Republican. I've done it before. I'm proud to be doing it on a county level, and I'm excited about what we can do for the county.
This next question touches upon many of the areas we covered already, but I want to ask it anyway. What do you consider the biggest opportunities, challenges, and threats facing Wilson County in the next 5 years? And what are your plans for handling these issues? Mr. Warren.
Read the last part again. The biggest what? Threats? I got that.
And what are the biggest opportunities, challenges, and threats facing Wilson County in the next 5 years? And what are your plans for handling these issues?
As I said before, first 90 days, do a top-down operational review. I think any CEO coming in, any commander coming in to a new operation, that's the first thing they do, just to know the players, know what's going on, to get a feel for what's there. I haven't been there 12 years, so I don't know. And I need to know because I can't make decisions and I can't help people make plans if I don't understand the playing field. That's the first thing. Once we get that done, we can start to define the opportunities. I don't have all the answers. Don't even pretend to have all the answers. But I know the people that do, and they're sitting right here in this room. They're sitting up at the courthouse. They're across this county. They have the ideas. They have the solutions. That's the opportunities, is to go to them, go to you, go to the department heads, go to the employees about how we operate our offices, how we operate our government. What would you like to see? What is your vision for this department? What is your vision? What do you think? What keeps you here? What motivates you to get up every morning and come to work? And let's work towards that goal. I think the biggest threats we have is ignoring that. One of the biggest threats we have is ignoring our county employees, ignoring our operations in government, and continuing to do things the way we've always done them. The world changes. The economic situation changes. Everything's changing rapidly. Our county's growing rapidly, so those challenges increase the pressure on every part of government. We don't want to be an intrusive government, but we want to be an effective government, a government that serves the people of Wilson County in a way they expect to be served. And as we grow, we have to be prepared for that. We have to build that foundation, and we better start building on it soon. We've let some things slip, and it's not anybody's fault. It's just slipped because that's what happens. So we need to get a hold of that again. I think that's the biggest threat we have, is not keeping up. The biggest opportunity we have are our people and our employees and the people in this county with new ideas, fresh perspective, and an opportunity to participate. to be a part of it. Everybody wants to be a part of it. And I can see, I've heard more people with more great ideas and thoughts, some of them kind of off the wall, but, you know, there's pieces up there that are really good. And we can put all that together. At the Election Commission, we took the best ideas from across the country. We found things in Florida that they were doing in some election offices there, California, Oregon, places that you'd never expect. We brought them back to Wilson County, tailored them to fit our county, and then put them into action and put us on the map. But those very ideas are what we need to pick up. We can get them from other places, but we get them right here. I think that's our greatest opportunity. Greatest threat is not doing that.
Thank you.
You know, the challenges that we face, and you sit down from time to time when you have a chance and just look at the county as a whole and say, you know, where are we? And you don't have a lot of time to do that because you're always going so fast, but because of this, you know, I've sat down for quite some time just to think about that. I think you have to be prepared for a rainy day. We had no clue that COVID was coming or the tornado was coming. So luckily we had prepared our rainy day fund for that, but we don't know when that will happen again. So I think we always must be ready to plan for that. Growth is coming, as we said, no matter who the mayor is. So we must plan, we've got to protect, and we've got to organize with every tool that we have available to us to help us navigate that growth. You can't put it off, but you can help make it all work together. We have to continue to build schools and any infrastructure that we need. That's a law. There's two things that I must do. One is educate, one's incarcerate. Now I must provide an ambulance. And if we don't do it, they'll come do it for you and take over your government. So we must continue to stay active there. I'm thankful for where we are in the schools. I'm thankful that we are now building a jail addition, which will actually double the capacity and hopefully keep us for a long time to come and make their job a little bit maybe easier. You know, the thing probably that is the thing that concerns me the most, and Mr. Steve Armstead, the late Steve Armstead, had a goal to pave all county roads in Wilson County. And he did that by way of working to make sure there are no tar and chip roads. And Mr. Murphy, Steve Murphy, took that over, and they've done a good job of that. And when you look at our county and you think about all of the state roads that have been done, you know, I-40 was widened from Mount Juliet to 109, now 109 to 840, and it's some plans right now to go from 840 to Highway 70. 109 was done, 141 was done. Central Pike Interchange is on the verge of coming up in Mount Juliet. You think about all those. The thing that's really left out right now for us, though, we've got those paved county roads, but there's no money in our budgets to widen those roads. Our road commission is a pay-as-you-go road commission right now. And the state, we've lobbied as county mayors to the state to say, you give money for state roads and you give money for city roads, we need more. Only if you only give me $20 million a year, then we'll work hard at making sure that we get a few roads done at a time until we can get it done. I do want to make sure that we continue to do good on broadband and getting water to people in rural areas. Quality of life, we said, was important. The BEP formula that's out there right now could give us a hard time because we are a county that has the ability to pay. And last but not least, we must continue to take care of our employees. We've done that. That's what the pay study was started for in 16, 19, and now in 22.
Thank you. Before moving to the closing statements, I have one last question for each candidate. And I would like you to hold your answer to 1 minute. Mr. Hoto, you get this one first. The question is, why should the voters of Wilson County pick you as the next county mayor over the other candidate?
You know, my hope is that you've looked at what we've done over the past 12 years and you believe that what we've done has been good for you. That's probably it. If we haven't been doing a good job, then I would say you need to vote me out. And I would agree with you, and I'll go find something else to do. But we have busted our tail every day we've been there. I come to work every day. I'm not always the first one to get there, but I'm close to 8. And I guarantee you I'm the last one to leave there, and I got a Ford Gray Explorer that sits on the corner there that you can find it. I'm going to do everything in my power to serve you the best I can, to lead the best I can. I will never make all of you happy. I know that. but I guarantee you I'll make the best decisions possible for all of us as I go forward. And I would appreciate your vote on early voting on May the 3rd.
I think a lot of what he said. I've got a record of proven leadership at the Election Commission. Things we did there, I want to translate into the county commission as county mayor. It's time, 12 years, I believe in term limits, from the courthouse to Congress. And I think I've said that many times before. You know, the average tenure of an NFL football coach is 4.3 seasons. The average tenure of a Fortune 500 CEO is 7.2 years. Yeah, I believe that there comes a time when we need to change leadership to get a fresh perspective, to get new ideas, to have a new direction on making things better than they have been in the past.
Thank you. To the closing statements, Mr. Hutto, you're first.
Just for the record, if I could be paid what those NFL coaches would, I would get out in 12 years. You could have it. My closing statement, I guess, will be a little personal tonight. You know, when you have a tornado that rips through your county, and when you have a worldwide pandemic that comes through here, and every decision you make is bad, no matter what we did, then you learn to lead through adversity. But you know, my son called me not long ago, and he said, "Dad, I need you to listen." He said, "I've had a diagnosis of non-Hodgkin's lymphoma, and I'm going to need your help." And when he said that to me, I realized that a lot of this stuff don't matter. And I'll ask you to go look at a picture on my website. It's a picture of me and Alex and Jack walking down the hall at the expo. And you know, to me, that reminds me of really why I'm here and what is the most important. It's about our family. And you know, I think about that because when I think about, you know, no matter what happens on the outside world, I can go home and be loved. When you're going a long trip somewhere, you're always happy to get home. You know, and the county is a whole lot like that. When you think about us, we have a lot of family members that make up one body. We all have different opinions, different needs, but we all must care for one another. I have a great work family that I love and they love me. We get along well. They serve our community well. We have county commissioners here tonight, and I believe we work well together as a family. That is our goal. And our goal has always been to make this place a place that you'll be proud to call home. I was married for almost 36 years. I have 3 children that are beautiful. My daughter is right here. My son is right there. And they are the best in my opinion. Both of them graduated. All 3 of them graduated from Tennessee Tech. 2 are married. 1 is about to get married in October. We really could say he's probably already married. But you know, I leave you with this. When all this is said and done, the most important thing that you got is your family. I hope that you enjoy your family and every minute that you have them together. That is the most important thing to me to convey to you as a leader of this county. And as we enter the Easter season, I hope that you're a part of the most important family. Thank you.
Thank you. I want to thank the Chamber and Chamber for for doing this, and Cumberland for hosting it. We spend, I don't know how many dollars, lots of money, lots of time, lots of effort to get out the word about what we believe in, what our vision is for Wilson County. And unfortunately, in today's world, we do it in little sound bites, probably 1-sentence statements that make everybody pay attention. You look at one thing, or a picture. We have to do pictures now. You know, years ago, do you know the first governor in Tennessee that was born in Tennessee came from Wilson County? His name was Lean Jimmy Jones. And I've read newspaper articles about him. He was a Whig, ran against James K. Polk twice, beat him twice, and then he went on to be president. But he'd get in his horse and buggy, and he'd go to Fayetteville, he'd go to McMinnville, he'd go all over and stop the little towns and get out and make speeches. Well, they'd write up the full speech in the newspaper and print it, and everybody read it, or they read it to their neighbors. And it was that was the way news got around. Today we do social media, and we get a picture and a little snippet and one of those pound sign things, hashtags. And that's how we're supposed to get our information. So I really appreciate y'all putting this together so we actually get to say more than those little words. I really do. I wish we could do more of this. Communication is a big part of what I want to do as county mayor. Start the communication, make a greater communication between departments in the county government and between the citizens in county government. We all have needs. We have various needs, and believe me, we'll never make everybody happy. That's impossible. A county mayor has to make some hard decisions. And I think tonight we've had a lot of questions, and the bottom line is the county mayor doesn't have as much power as they make out to do. There were a whole lot of questions there that we can give you opinions on, but probably not do anything about. But we can certainly try. We can be the leaders. We can set the tone and make the difference in which direction we go in the future. Another big part to conclude is go vote. We have close to 150,000 people in the county. That's men, women, and children. We probably have 110,000 eligible voters. We have right now, I think we're pushing right at 100,000 people that can vote. We're going to have a small turnout in this election. We have a small turnout in every election. That is a fundamental right, a fundamental part of being a citizen in this country and in this county. Go vote. Take people with you. We have early voting starting Wednesday. Take advantage of it. It's the easiest thing in the world to do. And when you do, vote for me, please.
There's an old saying that decisions are made by the people who show up. And you are those people. You are the people that have chosen to spend the last hour and a half here listening to these two candidates, listening to what they have to say, listening to some differences of opinion, listening to some things they share in common. You are the people that have shown up. You are the people that will make this decision in the upcoming election, which starts just 2 days from today in early voting. So on behalf of the chamber, on behalf of both chambers and Cumberland University, I want to thank you for showing up tonight and being so attentive. I want to thank both candidates for throwing their hat in the ring, for being willing to put themselves out there and being willing to serve our community. So please join me in thanking both candidates for their wonderful responses tonight and the work that they are willing to take on our behalf. Please join me.